Excarnation is an ancient burial practice that has fascinated archaeologists and historians for centuries. This practice, prevalent in several ancient cultures, particularly in Europe and the Middle East, involved leaving the bodies of the deceased exposed in open spaces, where scavengers would deflesh the remains before the bones were eventually buried. Though this may seem a strange or even gruesome practice by today's standards, excarnation offers a fascinating window into the beliefs, spiritual practices, and even practical concerns of ancient peoples. The most well-known instances of excarnation occurred among the prehistoric Britons, who practiced it during the Neolithic and Bronze Ages. Excavations of burial sites from this period have revealed that these societies sometimes placed the bodies of the dead in exposed locations, such as elevated platforms, or simply left them in open spaces where scavengers could pick the flesh clean. These remains were not buried immediately but instead left to the elements, with the scavengers, birds, carnivorous mammals, or other creatures, playing an essential role in the process. Once the body was sufficiently defleshed, the bones were collected and either buried or preserved in some way. In Britain, such practices were likely connected to a combination of spiritual and hygienic considerations. Some scholars suggest that excarnation was seen as a ritual that allowed the spirit of the deceased to detach from the physical body, ensuring a smooth transition to the afterlife. The process of defleshing the body may have been symbolic, signifying a separation between the soul and the mortal remains. The exposure to scavengers, therefore, could have been seen as a final act of cleansing before the bones, now considered sacred or purified, were buried. For others, excarnation might have had more practical motivations, such as reducing the risks posed by disease and preventing contamination, which would be important in the context of early societies with limited understanding of sanitation. Archaeological evidence from this time period supports the theory that the excarnation process was intentional. Numerous burial sites, particularly from the Neolithic and Bronze Ages, contain evidence of bodies that had been left to be cleaned by scavengers. The bones found in these sites were often carefully arranged and appear to have been handled with respect, suggesting that the process was not a random or haphazard act but rather a structured ritual in which the community placed importance on the handling and treatment of the deceased. In some cases, the defleshed bones were placed in tombs or burial pits, often accompanied by grave goods, indicating that the bones were viewed as sacred relics of the deceased. Excarnation was not limited to Britain. The practice also occurred in parts of the Middle East, where similar evidence of exposed bodies has been uncovered. In ancient Mesopotamia, for example, some archaeological sites have revealed evidence of excarnation, and it is believed that the practice extended across the region into neighboring civilizations such as the Sumerians and Babylonians. In these areas, the exposure of the body to the elements was likely connected to similar spiritual beliefs, with the body being viewed as a vessel to be cleansed by nature before final burial. The relationship between excarnation and the beliefs about death and the afterlife in these ancient cultures remains a subject of much debate. Some scholars argue that excarnation was seen as a way of allowing the deceased to return to nature, a final communion between the living, the dead, and the natural world. Others believe that it may have been more pragmatic, offering a method of sanitation and pest control before burial. The symbolic importance of excarnation, whether spiritual or practical, sheds light on the ways in which early societies understood the complex processes of life, death, and the transition between them. The practice of excarnation may have also had a communal or social function. In many early societies, death was not merely an individual experience but a communal event. The rituals surrounding death, including excarnation, may have served as a way for communities to express collective grief, demonstrate respect for the dead, and reinforce social ties. These rituals, though varied, served as a means of guiding the spirit of the deceased toward a favorable afterlife and ensuring the continued well-being of the living. In modern times, the discovery of excarnation practices has prompted re-evaluations of ancient burial rituals and their cultural significance. While it may seem strange or unsettling to think of bodies being left for scavengers, the archaeological evidence offers a window into how ancient cultures treated death, the body, and the afterlife. Through the study of these practices, we gain a deeper understanding of the values, beliefs, and customs that shaped the lives of our distant ancestors. Excarnation is not just a curiosity of ancient history, it is a powerful reminder of the complex relationships humans have always had with death and the afterlife. Whether viewed as a spiritual practice, a hygienic measure, or both, it reflects the diverse ways in which human societies have sought to understand and deal with the inevitable passage from life to death. Through the bones of those who underwent excarnation, we can glimpse a world that was both profoundly different and strangely familiar, a world in which nature, spirituality, and practicality intertwined in the most intimate of human rituals.